Good morning, TIs. It's January 11th, 2023. This is just a random video. I'm just going to discuss the tactics they use to perpetrate us, basically. At least what I have known what I have experienced. So one thing I want to point out is that, really quick, is that the apartment next door, the people moved out. There's been like 6 people in that apartment in the going on 3 years that I've been here, and every one of them has broke the lease. None of them stayed the whole lease, and you have to pay a lot of money to get out of the lease, a lot. And that apartment has been vacant now coming up to 2 months. And, with apartment complexes, they're in a big hurry to get the apartment renovated so they can get the next rent payer in there. They want to make money, but not in my case, not next to me. This has been 2 months, and I noticed that they got a new maintenance man because, a lot of the apartment complexes and places you live like that, they'll just pay off the maintenance man or have a maintenance man get hired that is a perp. The whole purpose of getting hired is to be a perp. So I noticed that the maintenance guy has been going in and out of there now for weeks, every day in the morning around the same time. And he goes in there just for a few minutes to retrieve the camera or the listening device or whatever's in there that he's doing. And then he leaves. And then the next day he would come in for a few minutes, do the same thing, and leave. But now he's starting to come to about 2 or 3 times a day. So he's retrieving whatever and putting it back or whatever he's doing. But he's not doing anything to the apartment. And you could think, at first I thought, okay, well, maybe he's just getting some information. When I first noticed that he was going in and out, I just thought, well, maybe he's just working on the apartment but he's not. He's only staying for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and then he's leaving. He's not doing any work in there, and this has been going on for weeks. And that apartment has been vacant for a long time. And we're in a housing crunch here in Arizona. It's a housing crunch. We got some of the most expensive apartments, but we don't have we don't have the money to pay it because the employers are not paying the rates. We got California rates without California pay. So people are trying to get apartments and they need them, but yet this one sits empty. And I'm in an apartment complex that they're losing money every day that it's empty. But they don't seem to care. They're not continuing fixing it. And it wasn't that bad to begin with. The people that moved out didn't stay very long. And they took care of the apartment. It wasn't in bad shape. So I don't know what they're doing over there unless they're just being paid to not rent it out so that guy can put that camera in there or whatever he's doing over there. I suggest it's a listening device or a camera of some sort he's retrieving. But that's just my theory. But something's going on because no apartment building is going to leave that apartment vacant because they're losing money. Unless they're being paid to do so. So that's just my 2 for 1 for that. And then, so that's one of the tactics they do. And another tactic they do is they double, every account you have, there'll be a double login for it. Like every single account that I have, there's a double login. Like I had an issue, okay, so let me back up. So my perps are out of Texas. I'm a paid finder of people, if you want to put it that way. There's a technical term for it, but I won't use it because when I say it, a lot of people don't understand. I did that for years. I found people. That was my job. So I know how to find people. And I know for a fact, 100% fact, that the perps that are perping me are out of the state of Texas. And I exactly know about the area too, because I have tracked them back there many times. So my perps are out of the state of Texas. And and there are different groups doing this, but they all are tied back to the Leo agencies. That is correct. But mine are out of the state of Texas. So I just want to say that. And I have family in Texas. Most of them now are gone, the closer ones to me, but I still have family in Texas. So still have a bank there. I've never had over the last 10 years I probably only had a couple $100, maybe 5 at the most. At the height was $500, but every 2 or 3 months I'm getting locked out. It should be like 6 months or a year before, and I'm getting locked out for being dormant. There is a lady that works in that bank because it is a small, independently owned bank, and she's a perp, so I believe she's doing it. And I noticed that I was locked out, and I noticed that somebody was signing in my account 23 times, and I hadn't signed in for 3 months, and I couldn't have possibly have because I was locked out for that 3 months. So I called the bank and said, look, I'm locked out. How come somebody's signing in my account? And they said, oh, they made up some excuse. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, well, we'll fix it. So basically, she said that there was a double account and somebody was signing in on the other account. So they had to merge the accounts together. So they said they did it. I don't know, but they said that they did merge them. So I noticed that that's happened on every single account I have. So with my electric, when all of a sudden last summer it got turned off because they said I moved out, which I never did. Once, I found that funny because it was right at the time my lease was expiring and I was contemplating moving, which I should have did. But I didn't because they raised the rent so much. But I wasn't feeling good at the time, and I didn't do what I should have done and look for somewhere else to live. I've moved so much, I was just tired. So, and plus, with everything going on, the rental rates here, it wouldn't have made any difference because if I would have moved somewhere else, it would have been just expensive or more, and plus the moving costs. So I just decided to stay here, but they thought I was going to move. So automatically, somebody turned off my electric after I re-signed my lease. They turned off my electric. It wasn't my apartment complex because I talked to them and they had never done that before. It wasn't them. I had re-signed my lease, so it couldn't have been them. But then when I called the electric company, they said, oh, it was just done by mistake. Somebody did it from another apartment and got the wrong apartment number. I highly doubt that because then later I was told by the electric company that it was just malice. Somebody did it on purpose. But I thought, thinking, and some of it is, but it's always, these perps they do things, they're smart. It's just not always dumb. Don't ever think they're dumb because they're not. This is a well-oiled machine psychological breakdown program. So later I found out that after I thought about it, that now I have 2 accounts, and you can see exactly what's going on both accounts so you can log into the old account because see, when they turned my electric off, then they closed my account and I had to open a new account. So they opened a new account for me, and why they couldn't just reopen the old account don't make sense to me, but they didn't reopen the old account. They said I had to have a new account. Now I have 2 accounts. So the perps sign in to your old account. They can see everything that's going on, and you can't see where they're signing in because they're not signing into your account. It's just tied to your account. So that's what's happening. And that's what's happening in your bank accounts and everywhere else. Even in my apartment complex here, there's 2 sign-ins. So they're signing in on the bogus account, and you can't tell anybody's signing in because it's connected to your original account. They did that in my bank account too, and what they would do is, like, let's say I bought something for $20. I went to the grocery store and bought a $20, and then so it would be like in 2 days it would be posting on my account pending, it'd be in pending status. And then like on the third or fourth day it would post to my account, right? The $20. Well, then I would look like a week later, and then it would, after it already posted, it would be back to pending status, and then it would post to my account again. So what they were doing is taking the $20 out of my account from the bogus account and then reposting, rehaving it go back on my account. So then that would be another $20 that would be taken out of my account, and it all looks legitimate because it's showing the balance taking out the $20, So it somehow, I don't know how they make them numbers work, but I do know that when I was in Florida, I was missing $10,000, and I can't account for it. I added up all my bills, all the money that I paid on my apartment, all my bills, and somehow $10,000 just disappeared. I couldn't account for it. You could look at my bank records, but I couldn't account once I added up all my bills and every single bill that I had and all my apartment rent for the year. I added everything up, and $10,000 was missing. So a lot of this is asset stripping. They steal your money. So that's what happens. They just strip you down to nothing. And I think that sometimes that's a big part of this. A lot of people say that this is a scientific experiment, and for some people it might be if they have a different group of people harassing them. But I have a friend that's in the she's almost a doctor, basically. She just needs a little bit more education and she can be a doctor. And she said this, she made a good point. She said, with every experiment, there's an end. There's an experiment and then there's an end. It don't go on for the rest of your life. Even with animals, when they experiment, there's an end to the experiment at some point. When the animal gets old, they just stop. They stop experimenting. But this program doesn't ever stop. So she made a good point. So what she's saying is she highly doubts that this is experiments, because experiments end at some point. There's a conclusion to the experiment. And that's not the case for this. So I believe this is just a hideous people that are narcissists, and this is a hideous program. That you're just put in for it, be it that, like another TI mentioned when reading off some stuff that he found, it's just chance sometimes. You just get in the program by chance. You might not have a lot of family members. I noticed that was brought up about me, that I wasn't connected to the right people in my small community. So I think they just throw you in the program out of chance sometimes. Now, may it be a military type program to see how much you can take? That might be. But if it's any type of medical experiment or anything, there's an end to an experiment at some point. So, yeah. I think, and you got to think about all the money that they're taking for the TIs. They have taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from me. No, I wasn't rich, but I was middle class, so they took everything. They took my house, and they made a lot of money off of that, like 30 or 40,000, and they only gave me 6 out of my house that I had 15 years. So there's that. I had 20 years, 30 years worth of furniture in my house, jewelry, you name it. They took thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars from me. So there's that. It's a takedown program. It's just to asset strip you and take whatever you have. There's that. I think it would be harder to do this to somebody that has a big family or people surrounding them. There's too much chance of somebody speaking out for them. Even my own daughter, like, I noticed after she got the you-know-what, she changed. Like, we're not close. It's my only child, and it's a girl. So how is that possible? How is it we're not close? She's changed. Like, when I couldn't find somewhere to stay, she's changed. Yeah. I hate to say this. I never thought I would say this, but yeah, she's changed a lot. And they did that. It was the perps. They do that. They alienate you. They talk to your family, telling you what a bad person. They use, I think a lot too of this is a lot, like I've heard a lot of them talk about V2K and all that. And I think that is, I've gotten some of it, but not a lot. But yeah, I've gotten some. And I think that is psychic driving. I think it is hypnotism. That's what I think. I think they hypnotize you at night while you're sleeping with the V2K by saying the same things over and over and over. It's called psychic driving. They use it and that's how they get you to do things. Like, they can literally get you to do things at night and you don't even know you did it. They use that and also drugs. Like I mentioned earlier, there's something called, there's a medical term for it, and somebody that's highly educated made a comment on my channel and gave me the real name of it, the technical medical terminology, but I can't remember what that she said. Excuse me, but it's basically devil's breath, and they use it on tourists in other countries and stuff, and if they blow it in your face, then it puts you out and you can't remember what happened. And they use that when they come into your house. All right, I've made the video too long. I'm going to do a part 2 on this. I'm going to have a whole string. I'm going to write them down. I'm going to have a whole string of tactics that they've used on me over the years. And I had mentioned this too. Before I go, I want to make a quick mention of this because I'm going to talk about this in the video. I'm probably going to make 2 or 3 videos about the tactics. So you are aware of what's going on if you're new to the program in the last few years, 5 years or under. This was going to give you a good idea so you can protect yourself, things that I didn't know that I do now. And one of the things I want to mention really quick is, for me, they mess with everything in my apartment, including my food, anything in my shower, anything. So you got to think about that. My clothing. There isn't one point in my life that they're not messing with. So if you piss off the wrong person, you'll be just like me. And there is a guy going around harassing all of us, and he's saying, and anybody that comes to your channel and just to harass you, that's a perp. Because what would be the purpose for, if they don't agree, like in normal life, if you're on a channel and they don't agree with you, then they're just going to find another channel that they do agree with. They're not going to sit there and harass you and purposely harass you unless you're being stalked. That's a stalking tactic. When somebody just seeks you out just to harass you about what, I can say whatever I want on my channel. That's the freedom of being a U.S. citizen. But evidently targets are not allowed to even say what they want on their channel. So that just goes to show you they're trying to snuff every right you have out. I don't go to their channel and start all that stuff. If I don't like that person or I disagree with that person, then I'm going to find another channel to watch. I'm not going to put up my time and effort to harass somebody. So if they're doing that to you, that is stalking, and I would document all that. That's a stalking tactic. Somebody that keeps contacting you when you tell them not to. Like they keep tagging you when you tell them not to. When they keep coming to your channel, making new channels so they can come to your channel and harass you, that is a stalking tactic. Because any normal person is not going to keep bothering you. They're going to find another channel. What is the purpose? If they don't agree with you, there's millions of people you don't agree with on the internet. So why stalk somebody? That just makes the TIs look credible. Because why would somebody stalk you on your channel and say things aren't happening, or you and calling you out, like saying you're schizophrenic or you got a mental disorder, when they're not psychiatrists, when they're not doctors. They cannot make that determination because they are not a doctor or a psychiatrist. So why would they say something like that? Why wouldn't they just find another channel to watch? That just proves our point that it does happen. You're doing it, so it's happening. You see what I'm saying? So make sure that you mention that, TIs, when you're having that certain person come to your channel, and you repeatedly make sure you, number one, you're telling them that you do not want to engage with them and to stop contacting you. That's number one. Number two, when they keep doing it, make sure you point that out, that yes, it does happening because you are doing it. See, you're doing it. You're stalking me. There's a million other people out there that you can be watching, but you keep coming back to my channel stalking me. So it is happening. They're doing it. Make sure you mention that. Peace and love.